Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Story Time with the Captain. And today's story is about when I grew up. It was a different time when you would drink beer and go out and and screw around, and the police would pull you over and they would just let you go. Well, nowadays you try that crap, it ain't gonna work. We did this a lot of times. There was one time. I'm not going to say any police department's names. I'm not going to say my friend's name, but I'm going to call him D. Well, anyways, I remember one time we were at the end of my road. We would sit in there parking one time, and we were having a few beers, and we're sitting in a car and in a truck, and we're sitting there and we're having a couple beers, and all of a sudden I went over. There was the person I grew up with. Was houses like right there, and I went over and knocked on their door and seen if they were home, and they weren't. And shortly after that, here comes the township police department, wanting to know what we're doing. So we get out of the car, and and D left his beer in the truck, and we're sitting out there, and he reaches in and grabs it and throws it back in the woods. Well, the cop comes back, and he's looking in a truck. He goes, "Where was that beer that was in there?" And D was like, he didn't say anything. He just had his head down. He goes, "There was a beer in this truck. Where is it?" And I said, "I think he threw it back in the woods." He goes, "Go get that beer and put it back in the truck." And I was like, "Oh, no." So he goes back in the woods, and well, basically, that girl we were going to talk to, she called him on us, being a big old, yeah, you know what, insert expletive there, Well, he puts the beer back in the truck, and I was like, oh, crap. So he tells us to get back in the truck. So we get back in the truck, and we're sitting there, and another cruiser pulls up, and I was like, oh, crap. So we're sitting there and they're talking to each other and blah, blah, blah. They already took our information. And it was fine. And we were sitting there, and we probably had a couple beers. I can't even remember how many beers we had. We were just sitting there. I didn't even live there at this time. I think I was kicked out of the house. And I was living on my own, and we backed down in there. So the cops, they were talking for about 5 or 10 minutes, and they come back, and the one cop comes over to the driver's door, and he goes, "I'm going to tell you right now." And he goes, "If it wasn't for him, his brother working for the sheriff's department, I'd run you down to the station." They're talking about my brother. And he let us go. He goes, "Now get you guys out of here." So we left. And this is just one of many. We had another one. We were sitting in the apartments later on I would move into, and me and D, we were sitting there just drinking. We were putting our bottle caps on the dashboard. We're just sitting. It was like the apartment buildings are right there, and in the parking lot, and they're just and this was a nice apartment, and I knew someone probably going to call the cops. Well, sure enough, we were sitting there for about 45 minutes, drinking down some beers, and sure enough, here comes the other police department, driving out the spotlight. They found us. They pull in, and we're sitting there, and they had us get out of the car, and they're taking everything out of the car, putting it on top of the car and everything, and I'm sitting there, and for about 10 minutes, they're sitting there talking and going through this crap, running our information, and then I hear my name called, and I look over, and here it was my cousin. He worked for the State Highway Patrol, and I was like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" And he basically, they basically told us, "Why don't you guys need the guys are gonna get out of here." So we left that place, got off, it was fine. And another time, we used to go to the high school football games, and I think at halftime you would get in for free. And we were sitting there goofing around, and we drinking and stuff, but we knew this deaf kid that went to school. His name was Marcus. He was a pretty cool kid. And I don't know where we met up with him, but it wasn't a high school game playing. And we had some beer we bought some, I think some 40-ounce bottles of beer. Or I think they were quarts. They were between 32 and 40. They were quarts or 40-Os. I can't remember. We were driving around, we're sitting in a car, we're driving. He's in the back seat. Me and Dee were up in the front. I was riding shotgun, and we're drinking our beers and stuff, and we pull. I guess we were back in this one neighborhood, and we pull up to the stop sign. I guess we rolled through it. He didn't stop all the way, and it was probably just enough reason for a cop to see that, to give him a reason to pull us over. There's three guys in a car. They're probably screwing around anyways. Sure enough, he pulls us over and told us we rolled through that stop sign, red light, stop sign. And we were sitting there talking, and he's trying to talk to the kid in the back, and we told him he's deaf. He's deaf. He can't hear you, understand you. And he made us get our beers, dump them out, get out of here, go home, take him home, and you go home. It was pretty cool. I mean, this is back when the times when your neighbors would yell at you, and your neighbors could beat your butt and send you home, and then your dad would beat your butt for being stupid, Nowadays, it's like, don't you touch my kids. My kids can't do wrong. They just robbed the store. My kid didn't do anything wrong, but, Anyways, it just shows you the sign of the times. They're going downhill. There was another time where I wasn't with them at this time, but they told me what happened. He had a 12-pack, and he had his one buddy. He's dead. He committed suicide about 5-6 years ago. But they were out drinking, and he got a 12-pack. Or they were pulled over, and they had a 12-pack in there, and there was only 3 or 4 of them. And the cop asked him, whose is this? And he says, it's him. And the other cop, and the one cop goes, this is all for you. And the other cop goes, yeah, I seen him. He could do that. He could drink a 12-pack. They made him strip down to his underwear on the main freaking road. Stripped down to his underwear. And I think they just screwing with him. So they ended up getting dressed and they let him go. Another time, this is probably the last time I'll tell you about driving around. I can't think of any more. Any other times we were busted drinking around, driving. We were screwing around. We were in a park, and yeah, we were in the park. It was a pretty big park down there. They had the festivals later on in there, and they ended up turning real crappy, like little carnivals every year around 4th of July. Yeah. But this was like, I can't remember when the time this was. We were sitting there, we had a radio playing, we're sitting there drinking beer. It's like 11 o'clock, 11:30, somewhere around there. And these cops pull up, and they say, hey guys, the park's closed at 11. So we're like, all right. We had, he goes, what are you guys doing here? I said, we're just listening to the radio, just hanging out. And we were drinking, and we had burger beer. Now you can find burger beer now. I did a review on burger beer on my other channel, 1920 Beer Baron. And this was a different burger beer. And we left there. We had 2 cases of burger beer. It was like the cheapest beer you can freaking buy. And it tasted like oatmeal. We had 2 cases of burger beer in the trunk in a plastic garbage bag. And they were the little stubby bottles too. They were like this, the little stubby bottles. And we left there, and we went to another park on the other side of the town. And we were sitting there drinking beers, and we were sitting there, and all of a sudden, we could see a car coming, and we could see the way the car would come. It had to come up over a little bit of a hill, and we could see it had a light bar on it. So we're like, oh crap, it's the cops. So we throw the beer underneath the car. We opened our doors and threw them underneath the car. And I don't even know why we did. Why we just keep them in our car. But and we started driving away. And wouldn't you know, it was the same cops that just told us to leave that park over there. Well, they stop us, and they turn their bubble gum on there going, and they ran our information and talking to us. All right, guys, we'll let you go, but you have to clean up all the park, the whole freaking parking lot, all the beer bottles and cans that were there. We cleaned them all up, and they took our beer. They were probably pissed, I'll bet you. When they got home and they tried that beer, they probably, hey, what kind of beer is this? Man, they would have probably shot us if they would have tasted it. It was pretty bad beer. But when you're young, and at the time the drinking age was 19, and I just made the drinking age, and I was grandfathered in, they changed it to 21. So I'm not telling you how old I am. All right, I'm 30. So yeah. So we ended up cleaning up all the beer bottles and stuff, and they let us go. They took our beer and let us go. And I can't think of any more other times we were out driving around just screwing off and getting pulled over and letting go. And another time we had a bunch of guys. There's this strip. We called it the strip. At this time, people drive their cars and shine up their cars and looking cool and just cruising. It was cruising around, and it had this one plaza, and you drive up the strip, and it had a McDonald's at the one end, and people drive through the parking lot. A fight would break out once in a while, and this goofy, stupid crap. And we were sitting there. We decided to take our bicycles out. We probably had 12 guys on bikes. Nah, that's a little over-exaggerated. We probably had 7 guys, between 7 and 8, 9 guys, on our bicycles, cruising around with these motorcycles and stuff, or not motorcycles, but the cars. And we're sitting there just, in the lane. I mean, it's only like freaking 5 miles an hour, and we were just cruising around with the cars, man. People liked it. We were just a bunch of dorks riding around on our bicycles. So, anyways, I think that's about it. My drinking stories are getting busted by the police and let go. So we did a lot of that crap, just stupid stuff. We did a lot of stupid stuff growing up. Who doesn't do stupid stuff? But it's a different time. Can you imagine doing that now? You get hauled down to jail. I mean, if you're in a really small town and they know your family or something like that, and I mean, it'd be all right. But it's pretty cool. There you go. And I guess I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.